Now, you have here, but the lesson is this one, playing games. The unit is called Games and Temptation. So, what can you see in the picture? What are they doing?
Playing video
Patricio?
games.
Is there playing video games?
Do you like to play video games?
Yes, sometimes.
Mhm. What kind of video games?
Battle, like battle.
Alexis?
Yes, I love play video games, teacher.
I think many of the students of software, that's the common thing, no?
Yes, it is because it is relation with technologies.
And actually, it's a very good way to learn English, no?
Yes.
And to practice your English. Okay, very good. So, let's answer some questions. In your opinion, who plays more video games, boy or girls?
Uh,
Boys.
boys, in statistics, is boys.
Who plays more video games, teenagers or adults?
Teenagers.
Yes, teenagers.
Who spends more time playing video games, teenagers or adults?
Teenagers.
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 Okay, let's find out. Some recent research findings. Who can read the facts, please? Volunteers? Alexis, please.
Some recent research findings. 56% of video games in the last 6 months were female. 3 years ago, that figure was 49%. So something is changing. More people over the age of 44 play video games than children or teenagers. 55% of the population use mobile apps to play games. Gamers over the age of 16 spend uh, 11 hours gaming a week. 8 to 15 years old play games for 20 hours a week.
Okay, good. Only some corrections. Findings. The pronunciation.
Findings.
Findings. Gamers. Because they say game here and it's gamers.
Oh, yes.
And percent. I don't know if you say percent. Okay, so was it the same as you said in your answers?
No.
No.
Difference.
So, surprisingly, the girls play more video games. I mean, I don't play video games, but according to the research, and adults play more video games. Actually, I know some people that play video games to de-stress. No?
Yes.
And in the last one, you were correct, no? Because obviously teenagers maybe have more time, no, to play video games. Okay, very good. So we're going to do a listening. The listening about street interviews, okay? And you have to match the people with what they say. Give me a moment because I have to disconnect my headphones. Okay.
Unit 11, Lesson 1. Exercise 4 and Exercise 6.
Excuse me. Yes? We're doing a survey. All right, only you better be quick. Certainly, sir. Can you tell me if you like playing video games? No, I never play them. They're just for teenagers. And I'm not a teenager. No, sir, of course. I'm sorry. I have to go. But, sir. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes?
We're doing a survey about video games.
Yes?
And we'd like to ask you a question.
All right, let's hear it.
Would you mind telling me if you play video games?
Oh, well, I am kind of addicted to Candy Crush.
Could you tell me how often you play?
Actually, I play whenever I get the chance. But the thing is... Hello, Natalia. Hi, Tasha. This is my friend Tasha.
Hello, Tasha. Perhaps we could ask you some questions too.
Okay, sure. I'll answer your questions if you answer mine.
Okay.
So, what's your question?
Could you tell me what you think about video games?
I don't really have an opinion. I think kids spend way too much time playing them, though.
Could you tell me what you mean by too much time?
Wait, it's my turn now.
Excuse me?
My turn for a question.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Do you know where Zara is?
Wait, you mean the clothing store?
Yeah. Do you have any idea where it is?
It's on the next street over, next to that big office building. You can't miss it.
Okay, come on, Natalia. I want to do some retail therapy.
Sorry, gotta go.
Hey, wait a minute, you haven't finished answering.
Okay. Who said I'm kind of addicted to Candy Crush?
Natalia.
Natalia.
I never play them.
The man.
I'm sorry, Natalia is number 2.
Mm,
My God, it's kind of difficult. I play whenever I get the chance.
Natalia.
I think kids spend way too much time playing them.
Tasha.
Very good. Now, you're going to listen again and you're going to match the names again. Who's in a hurry? Who's Natalia's friend? Who likes games? Who's trying to find a clothing store? And who isn't having a very good day?
Unit 11, Lesson 1. Exercise 4 and Exercise 6.
Excuse me. Yes? We're doing a survey. All right, only you better be quick. Certainly, sir. Can you tell me if you like playing video games? No, I never play them. They're just for teenagers. And I'm not a teenager. No, sir, of course. I'm sorry. I have to go. But, sir. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes?
We're doing a survey about video games.
Yes?
And we'd like to ask you a question.
All right, let's hear it.
Would you mind telling me if you play video games?
Oh, Well, I am kind of addicted to Candy Crush.
Could you tell me how often you play?
Actually, I play whenever I get the chance. But the thing is,
Hello, Natalia.
hi, Tasha. This is my friend Tasha.
Hello, Tasha. Perhaps we could ask you some questions too.
Okay, sure. I'll answer your questions if you answer mine.
Okay.
So, what's your question?
Could you tell me what you think about video games?
I don't really have an opinion. I think kids spend way too much time playing them, though.
Could you tell me what you mean by too much time?
Wait, it's my turn now.
Excuse me?
My turn for a question.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Do you know where Zara is?
Wait, you mean the clothing store?
Yeah. Do you have any idea where it is?
It's on the next street over, next to that big office building. Can't miss it.
Okay, come on, Natalia. I want to do some retail therapy.
Sorry, gotta go.
Hey, wait a minute, you haven't finished answering.
Okay. So, who's in a hurry?
The man.
Who's Natalia's friend?
Tasha.
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 Tasha,
Who likes games?
Natalia.
Natalia,
Who's trying to find a clothing store?
Tasha.
Who isn't having a very good day?
the man,
Oh, there's a mistake here. Ah, because it's also Tasha. Okay, very good. So in the interview, you listened to some questions, but the questions were not common questions or direct questions, right? They were indirect questions. Mhm. So I'm going to play it again, and you have to write here in your books or in your notebook. What is the way the interviewer asks these questions? Okay.
Unit 11, Lesson 1, Exercise 4 and Exercise 6.
Excuse me. Yes? We're doing a survey. All right, only you better be quick. Certainly, sir. Can you tell me if you like playing video games? No, I never play them. They're just for teenagers. And I'm not a teenager. No, sir, of course. I'm sorry. I have to go. But, sir. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes?
We're doing a survey about video games.
Yes?
And we'd like to ask you a question.
All right, let's hear it.
Would you mind telling me if you play video games?
Oh, well, I am kind of addicted to Candy Crush.
Could you tell me how often you play?
Actually, I play whenever I get the chance. But the thing is,
Hello, Natalia.
hi, Tasha. This is my friend Tasha.
Hello, Tasha. Perhaps we could ask you some questions too.
Okay, sure. I'll answer your questions if you answer mine.
Okay.
So, what's your question?
Could you tell me what you think about video games?
I don't really have an opinion. I think kids spend way too much time playing them, though.
Could you tell me what you mean by too much time?
Wait, it's my turn now.
Excuse me?
My turn for a question.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Do you know where Zara is?
Wait, you mean the clothing store?
Yeah. Do you have any idea where it is?
It's on the next street over, next to that big office building. You can't miss it.
Okay, come on, Natalia. I want to do some retail therapy.
Sorry, gotta go.
Hey, wait a minute, you haven't finished answering.
Did you write any question? No? Check the answers, please. What is different in a direct question What is the difference between a direct question and indirect question?
The structure,
More specifically,
the the first word is different.
there is expression,
Yes.
a polite expression. And what happens in the second part of the question?
And the number 6 is more direct, and the number 7 is more formal.
Well, all the questions are more polite than direct questions, but I want you to tell me what happens because the first part of the question is expression. Would you tell me? Would you mind? Um, do you know? Etc. But what is the structure of the second part? Is it a normal question?
Yes, I think
It's
so.
the same. It's the same for it's the same question that the first
No.
one.
No, because if it would be the same, the question would be, can you tell me, do you like playing video games? And it's not like that. So what is the difference?
Well, teacher, I think the difference is the second questions are possibilities, and the future and a premise, a cold and can't.
The question is, I mean, the idea is the same. Ruben,
It's a way more polite to ask information or use indirect questions.
with indirect questions. But there is a change also in the structure. That's what I want you to notice too. We're going to watch a video so you get more examples and get this idea um, clearer.
Teacher, if you are sharing something, we can see it.
Questions in English from espressoenglish.net. Direct questions are the normal questions we ask to friends, family, and people we know well. For example, where's the bathroom? Indirect questions are more formal and polite. We use indirect questions when talking to a person we don't know well or in more professional situations. For example, could you tell me where the bathroom is? Here are some phrases to use for beginning an indirect question. Could you tell me? Do you know? I was wondering. Do you have any idea? I'd like to know. Would it be possible? Is there any chance? Now, the structure of the question changes in indirect questions. Let's look at some examples. Direct. Where is Market Street? Indirect. Could you tell me where Market Street is? In indirect questions, forms of the verb to be, like is, are, and were, come after the subject, not before the subject. Direct. What time does the bank open? Indirect. Do you know what time the bank opens? In indirect questions, we don't use auxiliary verbs like do, does, or did. Also, in the indirect question, we say the bank opens. Direct. Why did you move to Europe? Indirect. I was wondering why you moved to Europe. Again, there's no auxiliary verb did in the indirect question. As a result, we say moved instead of move. Direct. How has he managed to get in shape so quickly? Indirect. Do you have any idea how he has managed to get in shape so quickly? The verbs have, has, and had also come after the subject in indirect questions. Direct. How much does this motorcycle cost? Indirect. I'd like to know how much this motorcycle costs. To form the indirect question, we eliminate the auxiliary verb does and change cost to costs. Direct. Can you finish the project by tomorrow? Indirect. Would it be possible for you to finish the project by tomorrow? For questions with the word can, we use would it be possible in the indirect question. Also, we say to finish instead of finish. Direct. Can we change the meeting to Thursday? Indirect. Is there any chance we could change the meeting to Thursday? Is there any chance is another way to ask an indirect question when the direct question begins with can. We also use the word could before change in the indirect question. Yes and no questions in direct form have the word if in the indirect question. For example, direct. Does Tom like Italian food? Indirect. Do you know if Tom likes Italian food? Direct. Are your parents joining us for dinner? Indirect. Could you tell me if your parents are joining us for dinner? Direct. Do they speak English? Indirect. I was wondering if they speak English. Direct. Has Barbara ever studied abroad? Indirect. Do you have any idea if Barbara has ever studied abroad? Direct. Do you plan on traveling this summer? Indirect. I'd like to know if you plan on traveling this summer. Okay, let's review the rules for indirect questions. Indirect questions have no auxiliary verbs like do, does, or did. In indirect questions, forms of the verbs be and have come after the subject. For questions beginning with the word can, we change it to would it be possible or is there any chance in the indirect question. And yes or no questions become if in the indirect question. For more practical speaking and writing tips for business and professional
Okay, did you like the video?
Yes.
It was very clear, no?
Yes.
So what I want you to notice is that in the indirect question, we don't use auxiliaries and the form of the sentence becomes a normal sentence without auxiliaries and without switching the verb to be in the case of questions with the verb to be, okay? So we're going to practice with some sentences, some questions. I'm going to share the link in the chat. Okay, I'm going to share it on the screen, but you have to do it individually first, okay? Okay, so in the first part you have yes or no questions. Remember that the yes or no questions in the indirect form are going to contain the if. For example, did you enjoy your holidays? I'd like to know if you enjoyed in past, because the original question is in past, your holidays. Let's do the first one together. Can you repeat it? She wants to know. Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so she wants to know if you can
And repeat it.
eat it. Okay. You have here also phrases that you can use with indirect questions. Tell me, I want to know. Can you tell me? Do you know? I wonder, I'm thinking. Have you any idea? I don't know, etc. And then you have the open questions with one, with when, where, why, how often, how much, which. Example, how far did she swim? I'd like to know how far you swam or she swam. How many times have you seen a ghost? Tell me. Tell me.
How much?
Question. How many? Because it's how many, the original question.
Okay, okay.
How many times? Subject. You have seen a ghost. So it's a very little part that changes, but it's essential. So you can sound natural and you can reflect your advanced English level. Because I even heard some teachers, believe it or not, that they don't follow the rule. And I was like, what? because they ask, for example, tell me, they leave the question as the same, or other people. So that is not the original thing. Of course, people are going to understand you, but they are going to notice that your English is not good or not as advanced as it should be. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 minutes, well, 15 minutes because there are many sentences to complete the two parts. Okay, and then I'm going to call you, well, to call some of you to participate. All right, any questions?
No.
Please start.
No question.
If you have questions during the exercise, ask via chat because I'm going to take off my headphones. Okay.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
page 105. I'm going to share with you the page. One moment. So it's on that page in the grammar part. These type of questions are used to confirm the information. Okay. So examples. You run a record time, didn't you? So in this case, the tag, it's called tag question because it's like a tag, no? Like when you buy clothes, there is a tag. And this part has a rule. For example, if you check the sentence before the mini question, it says, you ran a record time. Run is in past simple. So you have to use auxiliary for past simple, in this case negative, because the original sentence is affirmative. So you ran a record time, didn't you? So I'm kind of confirming the information, okay? And then I'm going to answer, yes, I did. It's the best time you have run, isn't it? So the original sentence is in present. It is. So because is in affirmative, I have to use the negative. Isn't it? You run a lot. Can you see the screen or? Yes.
Yes, teacher.
So you run a lot, don't you? My verb is in present. The auxiliary for negative is don't or doesn't. In this case, don't, because the subject is you. So don't you? You didn't win, did you? I'm using the auxiliary in affirmative because the original sentence is in negative. So, does anybody have any question? Because I hear a microphone on. Who has the microphone on? I want to know. Israel. Okay. So the equivalent in Spanish is like you ask something like, ¿te gusta el sushi, verdad? That, ¿verdad? is the equivalent to this structure because I am confirming the information. Only that in English we cannot say, you like sushi. I mean, you can say right, but this is a more advanced structure, okay? So let me show you some more examples.
Is it a formal way, teacher? What?
Well, it's not only formal, it's also common, it's colloquial too. But you have to follow these rules, like when the sentence is affirmative, the tag question is negative. When the sentence is negative, the tag question is affirmative. And remember that you have to use the auxiliaries according to the original sentence. So, it's a mini video, but I'm going to include another video in the tutorial for this week's activities. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to share with you the video.
Everyone, welcome to this new video lesson. Today we're gonna study about tag questions. Let's get started. So what are tag questions? Let's look at an example. He is Zlatan, isn't he? Isn't he? So tag questions are short questions we use at the end of a statement to ask if we are correct or to ask for agreement. And how do we form tag questions? To make a tag question, we use an auxiliary verb like the auxiliary to be, to do, to have, or sometimes modal auxiliaries, plus a subject pronoun. Let's see examples. First, when the statement is positive, you make a negative tag question. An example is, Zlatan is a famous player, isn't he? So we first change the verb form is from positive to negative, isn't. And then we add the subject pronoun he. This is another example with the verb to be. He was a great player, wasn't he? So remember, we change again the verb form was from positive to negative wasn't plus the subject pronoun he. When the sentence has other regular verbs in the positive form, we use don't or doesn't to make the question tags. An example is, you like him, don't you? Don't you? Here is another example with a different verb. He plays football, doesn't he? Doesn't he? When the sentence has a verb in the past simple tense, we use didn't plus subject pronoun to make negative tag questions. An example is, he played for Barcelona, didn't he? Didn't he? But when the statement is negative, we make a positive tag question. An example is, Zlatan isn't French. Is he? Is he? So we change the auxiliary to be from negative to the positive form is, and then you add the subject pronoun he. This is another example. You weren't a fan of him, were you? Were you? So remember to change the auxiliary form from negative to the positive form, and then you add the subject pronoun. When the sentence has another regular verb, we use do or does to make positive tag questions about the present. An example is, he doesn't play basketball, does he? Does he? When the sentence has a verb in the simple past, we use did plus subject pronoun to make positive question tags. Just like in this example. He didn't play for Madrid, did he? Did he? When the sentence has a modal auxiliary in the positive form, we change the modal auxiliary into the negative form, just like in this example. Zlatan can score many goals, can't he? Can't he? But if the modal auxiliary is in the negative form, you change it into the positive form, and then you add the subject pronoun, just like in this example. He will not play for Madrid, will he? Will he? That's everything for today. Thank you for watching. Stay
Okay, did you understand the video?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
It was very easy, no? Okay, I'm going to call the roll. Please, when you hear your name, turn on your camera and say present. Today is June 24. Who's sending messages? Or who's raising their hands?
Me, teacher. I have a
Yes,
question.
Patricia.
If I say, for example, because we are having a good time, what
Mhm.
will be the question? Aren't
But
we?
first you have to say the sentence. What could be the sentence?
Because we're having a good time.
We are having a good time. Aren't we? No?
Okay. Okay.
Like to confirm.
Okay, teacher. Is that the only valid answer?
Well, if the sentence is affirmative, you can also say right, but as I mentioned, it's very informal. Only if the sentence is affirmative. Because if you say we aren't having a good time, right? It sounds weird.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Okay, let's start with the list. Alexis Rafael.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Fatima Kanul.
Present.
Okay. Abner Setzal.
Present.
Your camera is black, Abner. I cannot see anything.
Yeah, my camera is not working.
But do you have a profile picture?
No.
Well, for next time, have a profile picture, please.
Okay.
Edwin Cruz. Absent. Kevin Garcia.
Present.
Pedro Jesus.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Ángel Alexis.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Ángel Francisco.
Present.
Daniel Hernández. Who's Daniel? Daniel is absent, right? Josmar Herrera. Eliezer.
Present.
Okay. Patricio López.
Yes, teacher, I'm here.
José Uriel. Absent. José María.
Teacher.
Israel Morales.
Present.
Francisco Daniel.
Present.
Julio Eduardo. Absent. José Luis Puc.
Present.
Francisco Rodríguez. Francisco absent. Paulo Romero.
Present.
Carla Vianey. Carla Vianey.
Present.
Ok. Álvaro Salvador. Absent. Isaac Torres.
Present.
Okay.
Present. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Well, for homework, for the activities of this week, you're going